Hello and welcome to the Life Illuminated podcast. I'm Maggie Kelly, your host, and today I have the honor and the privilege of welcoming Katharine Giovanni to the show. Katharine is going to teach us how to forgive. Welcome, Katharine.
Thanks so much for having me, Maggie. I appreciate it.
So, talk to us about forgiveness and why, first of all, why have you decided to devote yourself to forgiveness?
Our world is a mess, and it helped me so much in my life. And when my friends and I discovered this new method of forgiveness, we couldn't keep it to ourselves. We had to share it. But I've had, to quote a song lyric, it's been a long, strange trip, So yeah, I've been sober for 34 years. I tried to commit suicide in never mind what year it was. I was bullied in school. My parents were pickled, which is my way of saying they were alcoholics. So I'm a 12-year breast cancer survivor. So there's a lot of water under the bridge at this point. But forgiveness and gratitude and positivity is how I got through all of it.
Amazing. And so tell us a little bit about how you went about doing that.
Everybody tells you you need to forgive. Your pastor, your parents, your teachers. Nobody teaches you how. And what if you don't want to? Then what do you do? Everybody right now, 10 out of 10 people are listening to or watching this broadcast. They saw the title Forgiveness, and on a 10 scale, with 10 being unforgivable garbage truck and 1 being the easiest person in the world to forgive, y'all are thinking of your number 10s. And that's fair. And you don't want to forgive because they might be unforgivable. So, no, I don't want to forgive them, and I don't want to give them a pass. Doesn't mean that. So, in my world, forgiveness is going to free you. So, a few PSAs. Just because I forgive you doesn't mean I want a relationship with you. Probably don't. And this next one really trips people up. Just because I forgive you doesn't mean you're right. And I think we're taught that as kids. You need to forgive and forget. Okay, I'm from New York City. There's no forgetting. Your girl is not going to forget. No, we're not going to do it. But what I can promise you is my method will remove the emotional charge. So you won't care. You won't care good. You won't care bad. But it doesn't mean the person was correct. They're still wrong. They're still all practically unforgivable. There's still a dumpster fire, if you will. But you do it for you. Forgiveness means I want you out of my head. That's it. I want to stop thinking about you. I want to stop dreaming about you. I want to stop going into a store and smelling something, and then immediately the memory comes into my head. I want it all to go away. And that's what my system is designed to do. It's designed to help you. It doesn't help the person you're mad at. Doesn't do anything for them. And, if it's an ex or something and you see them on Facebook and they broke their leg, come on, we all kind of say, karma, they probably deserved that broken leg, don't we? But using my system, you won't care. You won't care. And the sad thing is, the person you're mad at probably first doesn't know you're mad at them, and they're just going about their life, living happily ever after, and you're miserable. They're living rent-free in your head, people. Time to evict them.
And so how do you go about doing that?
Well, Einstein proved that energy is neither created nor destroyed. It just transforms from one thing to another. So when you get mad, you think it leaves your mouth and it dissipates magically in the universe. It does not. It hangs in your energy field until you clear it. So why does lack of forgiveness stop your life? Well, for anybody listening, I'm about to hold a cup of iced tea right in front of my face, and it's really opaque. When you first get mad, this is anger, this is hatred, this is everything you don't want to do, right? But when you first get mad, look, I can hold it off to the side. I can handle my anger. This is easy. I got this. I can conduct my life. Look at my body language. This is easy. Oh yeah, I got this. The longer you hold on to this anger, the more it's going to hurt. So now I'm using 2 hands to hold up the glass. Okay, now it's starting to trip me up. It's starting to get into my head, but I can still hold it off to the side. I got this. I can still manage it. But if you keep on holding on to the anger, well, now my life is stopped. I'm holding the cup right in front of me. I can't see Maggie anymore. I can't do anything. I'm talking about it. I'm breathing about it. It's all I can do. So the forgiveness system is designed to allow you to live your life again. And even when you forgive the easy ones, because on that 10 scale, I want you to start with the easy ones, it's going to allow you to pay attention again. Why? Because you're going to notice things. You're not focused on the anger. You might notice a new way to make money. You might notice a new way to lose weight. And the secret sauce to the whole thing is energy, forgiving the person and the energy around the person. And that's why people say, oh, Katharine, I did forgive them. Okay, you're saying it through clenched teeth, so you probably want to take another pass at it. But the reason they come back into your head is you did do the forgiveness work. You did forgive all these people, but you didn't forgive the energy. Everything in our planet has energy around, including this little silver microphone. Everything. And until you forgive the energy, it's going to stay within your space.
Well, as an energy healer, I spend my days dancing in the quantum field and mostly about clearing energy, because if we don't clear the luminous energy body, then it manifests as disease. And, who knows? Is that where you're thinking that breast cancer came from?
Maybe. I don't think we'll ever know how I got breast cancer. It does run in my family. My grandmother, both grandmothers had it. My mother had it. I do not carry the gene. So maybe there's another gene. Maybe it was anger. Maybe it was some toxic chemical that I ate. I mean, we'll actually never know. But you can't control what you get in this world, but you could sure control how you get through it. So when I say, one of the things I tell people is you don't have to forgive your unforgivable. I'm the only one that's going to tell you that. Why? Because there's a lot of people, places, and things, and I did say places and things, stay with me, that you can forgive before you even get to that person. So the method is I'm going to have you write down on a piece of paper and a pen, or if you're a young person, write it on your phone. I actually don't care. It's fine. But, do remember that your phone has an off button. It's a real interesting thing. You can turn it off. But if you can't, I said that, Maggie, to somebody about 2 weeks ago. The color drained from the woman's face. And I thought, okay, mute it. It has a mute button so you don't have to hear it. And then put it face down so you don't have to see it. I want you to be alone. That's really my point. And I want you to sit down and write all the people you think you need to forgive. And then I want you to rate them from 1 to 10. 1 being super easy, like the person who cut you off on the floor of the grocery store yesterday. To forgive that person. Your hockey team lost yesterday. You can forgive them too. The person who stole your lunch in the office the other day. Hope you could forgive that person. How about the person who cut you off on I-95 South? You can forgive them too. Or something, somebody stole your homework when you were a kid. Easy, easy people. You could do this. So you rate everybody in your list from 1 to 10. And I want you to think about everybody in your life from the sandbox when you were a little kid all the way to present day. And you could have 7 number 3s if you want to. That's fine by me. It's your party. You can do whatever you want. And then I'm going to have you using the mantra that I have in the book. And it's a very simple little mantra. I'm going to have you forgive people one at a time. But the mantra is very specific about the energy. So I completely forgive Maggie. I completely forgive the energy around Maggie. I completely forgive myself for anything I may or may not have done. I completely forgive the energy around myself. I completely forgive the energy around the entire thing. That's it. You don't have to hold crystals or dance unless you want to. It's totally fine by me. It's a very simple poem. Now, the reason I say you don't have to forgive the unforgivable is because the reason I call it a garbage truck is because there's a lot of garbage around that person in that memory. So let's say you're going to forgive a bully from grammar school, right? Okay. And the person himself is very unforgivable, which is fair. There are unforgivable people in this world, and that's fine. There's other things in the memory that you can forgive. You can forgive the school building, the energy around the building. You can forgive the playground, the energy around the playground. You can forgive the table, the desk, the chair, the room, the date, and the energy around all these things. You can forgive the energy around the person, but not the person. You can forgive yourself and the energy around yourself. And, it's like running into a wall. You walk around that dumb brick wall, keep going, circle back if you can. If you can't circle back to forgive this person, that's fine. Forgive what you can and keep going. But you have forgiven a lot of other parts of that memory, which should release the energy, which will make you feel better.
Yeah, and what you're really alluding to is giving yourself freedom.
Yep.
know,
You're going to free yourself 100%.
opening up the space for the freedom to create from somewhere other than anger.
Right.
I come from the ilk that there can really be no love without forgiveness.
I agree.
And, it's funny because I don't even know what I said, but I said something to my 23-year-old that really upset her. And it was really not a big deal, at least over here. It wasn't a big deal, but she was just like over the top. And I was like, you know what? I'm really sorry. I am really sorry if I said something that offended you. That was not my intention. And she wasn't having that. She was not having that. And then I just looked at her and I said, you know what? It seems like I could apologize to you for 15 minutes and it won't make an impact. There's not going to be any love until you forgive me. And ultimately she did, but she didn't say anything more about it. But I think what I said got her thinking. Like,
Right.
honestly, I think a lot of us enjoy and relish and even embellish our suffering. It keeps us from having to be responsible for our own happiness. And if we want to sit there and wallow in, oh, she did this to me, or my dad wasn't there for me when I was a kid, or my mother did that or said that or whatever. And here you are, 60 something, still telling that same story, or still in therapy, even worse, 20 years in, talking about the same thing. There's another place to look. There's definitely another place to look. And part of it, and I also say this to my clients too, is what is the investment? Because there's a cost and a benefit to every behavior. And what
Right.
would benefit you to continue to be angry and upset and unforgiving? It gives you the ability not to have to take responsibility. And then what does it cost you? It costs you happiness. It costs you freedom,
Right.
your peace of mind, costs you lots of different relationships too. So yeah, I love this because I also have this friend too. She's always saying you have to forgive everyone. And I'm like, no, actually, I don't. I really
No, you don't.
I can, but it has to be genuine.
You can't get a 10 down to a 1 in 24 hours. This is an onion. And, the brain is an incredible tool. And, a lot of people say, I don't have anybody to forgive. Okay, well, start with, I completely forgive myself for not being able to forgive and the energy around this. Say that every day for a week. And what's going to happen is your brain is going to say, oh, she started the shadow work. And all of a sudden, it's gonna open up one of those back closets in your mind that has been back there playing without you knowing it, and it's been affecting your life because it's just back there. You don't know how to shut it off, and you're gonna start getting memories. But, taking responsibility, because I love how you said that, for taking responsibility for your own forgiveness, and this really does trip people up, doesn't mean you're saying you were right and I was wrong. 100%, that's not what it means. Taking responsibility for your own forgiveness means I want to be free. I'm the prisoner. It's messing up my body. There was, and I have a whole book on science, but there was something called the Japanese water study. And it's right online. You can Google it by a Japanese researcher. And I can't remember his name, but one of his names is Masamoto. I just can't remember the name. And what he did is he took several containers of water. One container of water he spoke love to. That's all he did. He said nice things to it. He said he loved it. He really loved it. The other container of water, hate, nasty. Every bitter, horrible words that you could think of, he blasted that water. He then froze the water and put it under a microscope. The water he spoke love to had these gorgeous formations, like snowflake formations. The water he said nasty things to had these black and brown formations, and they were nasty and ugly. The photos are right online. They're very interesting. Why am I saying this to you? Your body is like 95% water. So when you have your self-talk is bad, when you are living in hate and you're living in anger and you're living in bitterness, what do you think you're doing to the water molecules in your body? So
Yeah.
as you forgive, you're changing the energy around your body, which is going to cause people to notice that you look different, but you're also changing your body chemistry because you're going to start to feel better. And you're literally changing your cells from the inside out.
Yeah, and what you're alluding to is just taking charge of your own happiness, your own life, your own, I also think it's super important that we have enough boundaries and enough awareness to remove ourselves from people who are not the most productive and happy
Yes,
and
ma'am. Yes,
kind.
ma'am.
I was just telling a friend of mine the other day that I had some woman recently get miffed about something and she just went off. I mean, there was no pause. No pause. She just
Yeah.
and it was like, and I know better energetically. And thankfully she wasn't in front of me. She was actually online and left this message and I heard like 3 words of the message and I shut it off because the energy that came off of her into the message was angry and unabated anger.
Yep.
All I said back was, "I'm really sorry, but I can't entertain this conversation with you right now. I'm just not taking it in." So I think it's super important that we understand our own tolerance and ability to take in, hopefully not absorb, but take in at least audibly what someone's dishing out because we don't have to. We don't have to.
No, we don't. And I'm an intuitive and an empath. So I have protections, I kind of bubble myself and do things before I go into places. But, as I read people's energy, I've been known to switch lines. Sometimes I won't go into a store at all, depending upon how the energy feels. But, when you're like us, sometimes I'll go into the store and it's empty. And halfway through when I'm there, all of a sudden everybody's in the same aisle that I am. Okay, I'm very tempted to send that person an invoice saying, "You're welcome, bringing all these people in." Like energy attracts like energy. But at the same time, I've been known to shake people's hands and they take one giant step backwards because they don't like my energy. I don't take it personally. And I actually put those people, believe it or not, on my forgiveness list. It's a practice I do every night. Now, a little PSA. When we first came up with this method, I am an overachiever. I've written a lot of books, 12 at last count. So I go through things in life and then I write about them. And I got my list together and I must have had 50 people down there. And I thought, this is going to be great. I'm going to forgive everybody on this list. I'm going to be like a phoenix rising from the ashes. I'm going to be a butterfly coming out of the cocoon. I'm going to wake up tomorrow morning and it's going to be brilliant. I'm going to be a brand new person. Didn't work out that way. I spent the next 3 days in bed with what everybody thought was a stomach flu. Why? Well, remember that Japanese water study and the cells? The cells needed time to mitigate the anger. They had to go someplace. So that's why I spent the next 3 days in bed. So when you do forgiveness, you might feel your shoulders getting lighter. You might feel energy move in your solar plexus. Many people do. Most people get tired, and your body heals itself when it sleeps. So I do advise you do this before bed. And if you're a beginner at this, only do 3 or 4 people at a time. I can actually do up to 12 at a time, but I've been doing this a very, very, very long time. Do like 3, 4, 5 people at a time and do it every night, practicing your gratitude and any other practice that you have. And I promise you, you're going to feel a lot better. And people are going to notice. Now, how do you know you've forgiven somebody? You can go on Facebook, look at their name, and it's not going to bother you. You could see them at a party, see them across the room. Maybe it's your ex. You won't care. And you're going to notice that you don't care. And you're going to think, wow, this is great. I legitimately don't care. That's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for neutrality. That's what we're going for here.
And so is your book all about this method?
It is. It's called The Ultimate Path to Forgiveness. And it has worksheets at the back and it takes you step by step through the process.
Nice. Nice. Where do you find that most people get tripped up?
Most people, including more than one podcaster I've had the pleasure of being a guest on, it's really tripped up because I think this is ingrained in people's DNA that if I forgive you, it means I'm letting you off the hook. And 10 out of 10 people think that. And that's not what it means. You're letting yourself off the hook. They're still on the hook. You can still do what you need to do. If you need to take your ex to court, you can still go to court. You can do all these things. You're not giving them a pass. You're taking yourself out of the equation. You're allowing yourself to sleep at night. You're allowing yourself to have joy. It's your birthright. You're not meant to live in a refrigerator box on the street. This is your birthright.
Do you necessarily have to write them a letter and send it to them, or speak to them on the phone, or actually be face to face with someone to forgive them?
I was born shy, painfully shy. And when I quit drinking 34 years ago, you go to AA, as everybody does, and you have to do the steps, and you have to make amends, and you have to reach out to people. This shy girl had no desire to call people who were probably mad at me and who wanted to yell at me. I had no desire to do it. And some of them were my family's all passed now, but some of them were family at the time. I had no desire to reach out or even have a relationship with these people. So the method that I have today is selfish. You do it for you. You do not have to reach out to anybody unless you want to. You don't have to call anybody. And what I have you do is I want you to sit somewhere where your happy place, the middle of your bed, outside, I don't care, somewhere where you can be alone. And I want you to imagine in your mind's eye that the person you're mad at is standing right in front of you. And if you can't imagine how that person looked back when you were mad, if it was a kid you went to school with, I want you to imagine them how they looked back then, not how they look today. And you could, if you can't imagine that, some people can't, put a chair in front of you. You could put the name of the person or a picture on it if you want, but talk to the chair. Okay, sometimes people need a prop. And then if you need to speak to this person and get it out, do it. You're alone in your room. This is your party. You can yell if you want to, say anything you want to this person. And then I want you to put your hand in your heart, mostly because I want to remind you to speak from your heart, and then say the simple mantra. And the words are just for us humans. It's the energy behind your words that actually have the most impact. And then after you say the mantra, check in with your body. How do you feel? Do you feel like that person is still a level 1? Or as it sometimes happens, sometimes they go up to a 6 because your memories, you cleared that first level, and memories that you'd forgotten come up. So if they've gone up a couple levels, write the new number down next to their name. If you've forgiven them, check, I'm done. And you keep going through your list a little at a time. But let me tell you a story. This will not stretch your brain particularly, but it might stretch a few people's brains. I apologize. It will not hurt. I forgave a level 1 person from my past. I went to school with this person. And I thought, who's the easiest person to forgive? And it was this girl I went to school with. And I couldn't even remember what we were mad at. And I hadn't spoken to her in 20 plus years. And I thought, this will be easy. So I remembered her as she was way back in the 70s, the 80s. And I practiced what I preached, did exactly what I just said, and I forgot about it. And I hadn't heard from her in over 20 years. True story. 2 hours later, she calls me up on the phone. I've been training concierge for over 25 years. So my concierge training kicked in virtually immediately, and I was able to mask my shock. But my jaw just fell to the floor. And we said all the right things. We made all the right noises, as people do, and we reminisced as everybody does. I couldn't stand it. I'm a curious bear. And I said, I have to know. After all these years, why did you call me up today? She said, it was the darndest thing. 2 hours ago, which was exactly when I was saying my mantra, a figurine you gave me back in school flew off my shelf and landed in the middle of my floor. And I saw it and figured I should give you a call. So if the forgiveness energy has the power to move a figurine 700 miles away, and the forgiveness energy and the positivity has the power to change the cells in your body, what do you think it's going to do when you get to the higher number of people that have caused you more pain? What do you think that's going to do to your life? This is life-changing stuff, and it's like the law of gravity. The law of gravity is going to work whether you believe it or not. Okay, I could call the law of gravity the law of keeping Maggie on the planet. It doesn't care. It's still going to work. I could say, I don't believe in the law of gravity. Doesn't care. Still going to work. This is the same thing. The law of forgiveness works. And even if you don't think it worked and you've done it, keep going, because you've just cleared that first layer of the onion, and memories are going to start to pop up.
Beautiful. I love it. Love it. Love it. So, what do you tell our audience about how to live a life illuminated?
You are worthy to live an illuminated life. It's your birthright. You are worthy to live a life of joy and happiness. You're not meant to live in a refrigerator box on the street. You're not meant to sit in your apartment all alone, miserable. You're meant to be happy. You're meant to live in joy. And this process will allow you to begin your journey to joy. One of the only reasons you're not living that beautiful, authentic life that leads you to everything you've ever wanted is probably because, as I said before, you're too focused on the anger. And once you remove that anger, you're going to be amazed at the things that happen to you. And the universe doesn't wait for things. We're the ones that put a time limit on things. The universe does it almost immediately. So you can do this. You're worthy.
Nice. Nice. Now, how can people find you, Katharine?
They can go to my website, and thanks to my mother, my first name is spelled a little odd. Thanks you, Mom. It's Katharine Giovanni.com. You can also go to Amazon. I do understand not everybody likes to read, so I have the audiobook, the paperback, and the ebook all available for you on Amazon. And I do private sessions. Those are on my website as well.
Perfect. Perfect. Well, I love this. How inspiring. Very, very cool. And I think we can all do this.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks for being with us today.